So Monday night, Rand Paul is going to go into a senatorial debate. There's a woman who's a volunteer for Move On, Lauren Valle. She's waiting for him, okay? And she's been at other events before. She's got a blonde wig on, and she's going to run up to him with a sign and try to take a picture. The sign says, Republic Corps, Employee of the Month. And she's, of course, alleging that he's a stooge for special interests, which I think is a very, very fair allegation. Now, he would say he's a principled libertarian, but as it turns out, of course, all of his positions wind up helping the Wall Street bankers he claims that he is very concerned about, and the mining industry in Kentucky, and people that are the wealthiest people in the country and the largest corporations. They all wind up benefiting from Rand Paul's libertarian positions, so she's going to go ahead and try to do that. Now, apparently she's been at other events before, and Rand Paul's supporters have seen her at other events before, according to her. And so they're going to try to prevent that in some way, and then it gets ugly. So we've got video of it. Let's show it to you, and then we'll tell you more about the controversy. So there you see Rand Paul, of course. She's trying to reach him. She goes around the car, finally gets there, and then that's up. Get the cops! Get the police! Get the cops! Get the police! Get the police! Get the police! No! Come on! Get the police! Yeah. So, well, they tackled her, obviously, which they have absolutely no right to do, to say the least. And then they stomped on her head. So, now, here have been a number of excuses that they have thrown out there, number one. They said, stomp on her head? No. They stomped on her neck. That was excuse number one. I saw that in 3 different conservative places. So that's your excuse. That's unbelievable, right? Number two, this woman, she's been at other events. She's trying to agitate. Agitate what? She has a sign. She's trying to agitate a picture, okay? So, and then they're saying, oh, get the cops, get the cops. Yeah, get the cops to arrest you guys for slamming her on the ground and then stomping on her neck/head. Excuse number 3 was, oh, you don't know if this guy even supports Rand Paul. Really? Well, come to find out, his name is Tim Profitt, and there's a certain picture. You want to show that picture, everybody? Yeah, that would be Tim Profitt right there with Rand Paul. Not only does he support him, he is the campaign coordinator in Bourbon County for Rand Paul. And in fact, they took out an ad, Rand Paul's campaign did, saying in Bourbon County, hey, you know what? Tim Profitt is supporting us. Now, that was, of course, before he stomped on her neck/head. Now, so there goes that excuse. Now, what does Tim Profitt say? He says, okay, look, it was me, my bad, okay? But the video camera was tricky, and it was all in the way that the camera was shot. I do admit, though, to placing my foot firmly on her face. Well, okay, well, then that does it then. They were all clear. Absurd, right? Now, he says, oh, by the way, his second excuse is the police should have handled the matter better. What, they should have arrested you quicker? How would the police have helped you? You're not allowed to throw people on the ground and smash their heads. What does she do? She's a 23-year-old woman. Okay, now, there's 2 other things here. If I thought, look, maybe this thing got out of hand, that's terrible, and of course they're going to go ahead and detain him, and then they're going to look at what kind of charges need to be filed. That's totally unacceptable, and that'll follow its course. And I thought, man, the passions are heating up. This is too much. It's ridiculous. They got to try to make sure that this is contained. But, can you blame Rand Paul's campaign at all? I mean, he can't control everybody there. And that's still a fair point, right? But it turns out, according to her, she's now talked to the press, and she says that she was actually at 5 different events. And here, let me give you some quotes of hers. She said, Rand Paul's car arrived. They identified me and my partner Alex, who was with me. They surrounded me, referring to about 5 different people that you saw on that video, okay? And she says there was 5 of them. They motioned to each other and got behind me. My partner Alex heard them say, we are here to do crowd control. We might have to take someone out. Okay. Now, wait a minute. But that's coordinated. And that's much, much worse. That's not, hey, I got worked up. That's, I saw her at an event before, and here she is again. Let's take this obviously tiny 23-year-old woman and pound her into the pavement. Well, you got to get control over that. I mean, that's crazy, right? Now, to be fair, Rand Paul, now that Tim Profitt has been identified, has released him and is now, of course, not part of the campaign anymore in any way, shape, or form. And they say he's been banned from other campaign events. All right, well, look, I mean, we're making progress, right? But it's not exactly what I would call exculpatory. Look, what he did and what those guys did around there is outrageous, and there should be criminal charges. Rand Paul's culpability on this, man, you got to get control of your staff and your volunteers better than that. And you got to come out with a stronger statement saying this, how unacceptable this is. His statement we'll share with you in a second is okay, right? But then, look, third of all, we got Republicans all across the country now. That is becoming a pattern, right? Remember what they did with the reporter that was trying to ask Miller questions in Alaska. And they roughed him up, they handcuffed him and detained him, and they said, oh, we're making a private arrest. And when the cops showed up, they said, private arrest of what? No, you're not allowed to arrest this guy, let him go. So, and then if you remember in earlier campaigns, George Allen's campaign had roughed up Mike Stark, another activist who was going to ask, and reporter at that event, was going to ask a question of George Allen, and they threw him to the ground, etc. Look, it's beginning to be a pattern. So Republicans, do yourself a favor, talk to your staff, talk to your volunteers, and make absolutely clear that there should be nothing physical and no violence whatsoever. I didn't think you had to make that clear, but apparently you do because it's happening over and over again. So now let's go to Rand Paul's, statement on this matter, and let's see if, it's satisfactory. Clip number 6.
Let's deal with the scuffle right off the top. What was your reaction that, folks who were wearing Rand Paul T-shirts and hats treated this woman this way?
Well, we want everybody to be civil. We want this issue, the campaign, to be about issues. I will tell you that when we arrived, there was enormous passion on both sides. It really was something where you walk into a daze of lights flashing, people yelling and screaming, bumping up, and there was a bit of a crowd control problem. And I don't want anybody, though, to be involved in things that aren't civil. I think this should always be about the issues, and it was an unusual situation to have so many people so passionate on both sides jockeying back and forth, and it wasn't something that I liked or anybody liked about that situation. So I hope in the future it's going to be better.
Yeah, well, hopefully everybody out there will listen to that. And as you rightly point out, there's been a lot of tensions out there and a lot of excitement and a lot of passion, sometimes leading to things that we wish were not happening out there.
You know what? That's my third time looking at that, and it becomes more and more weak sauce every time. I mean, he says, oh, there was lights flashing. There was crowd control problems. No. There was no crowd control problems. That woman wasn't causing a problem. The problem was your volunteers who threw her to the ground and gently laid their boot on her neck / head, okay? / not so gently at all, right? So you're minimizing what happened. And then the part that got me at the end was when he said, well, both sides were jockeying back and forth. No. Both sides were not jockeying back and forth. One side got smashed in the head.